Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who do not know who I am, my name is Dr. Golda. I like to make videos on topics that are of interest to me, as well as on topics that are areas of my specialization. Today's short video is dedicated to the right to health. Yes, there is such a thing. I will be referring to my notes here and there throughout the video because I don't want to mess this up. Of course, I like to keep it real. The right to health is found in Article 12 of the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, and it affirms the right of everyone to the enjoyment of the highest attainable standard of physical and mental health. I'll explain a little bit more further what all this means. Unlike other rights, let's make a note here, human rights are interdependent and indivisible. Pretty much what this means is that every human right is closely related to and often dependent upon the realization of other human rights. As such, the right to health is an inclusive right that is dependent on the fulfillment of other human rights and encompasses healthy social conditions. Let's move along to general comment number 14, which is the right to the highest attainable standard of health. General comment number 14, subsection number 3 says that the right to health is closely related to and dependent upon the realization of other human rights as contained in the International Bill of Human Rights, including the rights to food, housing, work, education, dignity, life, non-discrimination, equality, the prohibition against torture, privacy, access to information, and the freedoms of association, assembly, and movement. These and other rights and freedoms address integral components of the right to health. All right, let's get straight to what that means. As a public health specialist and someone who works with the determinants of health and has an in-depth understanding of the determinants of health, we see that health is affected by a lot of factors, as I explained in a previous video, that are outside of the human body. For example, housing. If you live in poor housing and your housing is affected by mold, you're more prone to get respiratory infections. If you live close to a highway, you might be more prone to get respiratory infections. Let's take food as a determinant of health. If you eat poor food, for example, you're consuming foods with the dyes that have been banned in the United States, and yes, I will make a video on that, you're more prone to get diseases like cancer and so on and so forth. If you work in a stressful job or you live in a stressful home environment, you're more prone to mental health issues. So those are determinants of health. So how does the right to health factor in when we talk about determinants of health? As I mentioned earlier, the right to health is interdependent, meaning it recognizes that different conditions socially, environmentally, can impact health and well-being. So if you see a deficiency or if there's a deficiency in one particular area, then health can be negatively impacted or affected, right? I talked about housing. I talked about work environments or bad home environments. So the right to health essentially encompasses or has a recognition that for governments to adequately address and improve the health of their populations, they should pay attention to social or societal determinants of health that fall outside of our body. We all know that if you come in contact, for example, with the COVID virus, you'll get COVID. We know that if you come in contact with someone that has influenza, you're more likely to get influenza or the flu. So the purpose of these rights are to make governments accountable for their populations, to make sure that their populations are taken care of, beyond biomedical approaches, beyond going to a doctor, beyond going to a clinic, a walk-in clinic, a mobile clinic, or seeing a nurse practitioner. It essentially tasks governments or nation states that have signed onto these covenants to make sure that they're addressing the determinants of health. It also tasks governments to make sure that and to be aware that these determinants of health are interdependent. One mishap in one area will affect another area. I hope that makes sense. And I want this to be very clear because let's say if you're living in a country where you feel like your government is not adequately addressing your rights to health, you're not able to access, for example, the essentials or what are called the determinants of health, pay attention to whether or not your government is a signatory to the international covenant and what the stipulations are. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this makes sense. If you are getting value from these videos, like, share, and subscribe. Until the next one, bye.